The mold that changed the world. A grey London morning, 1928. Raindrops race down fogged windows. Inside a dim laboratory, the smell of chemicals mingles with the city's damp air. London. The year is 1928. The sky hangs heavy with mist, and in a small, cluttered lab at St. Mary's Hospital, a man named Alexander Fleming is about to make a mistake that will echo through history. Camera pans across a workbench. Glass bottles, petri dishes, scribbled notes scattered like the aftermath of a storm. The room is alive with quiet chaos, papers curling from steam, the faint hum of life beneath a microscope's lens. Fleming, in his worn lab coat, wipes his glasses with the back of his hand. He's tired. Months of experiments, all failures. The bacteria he's studying seem unstoppable. He sighs, glances at his petri dishes, and decides to take a break. A short holiday, just a few days away from this suffocating failure. The lab abandoned. Dust settles slowly on benches. Sunlight crawls across the floor as days pass. When he leaves, the lab becomes silent, a graveyard of forgotten experiments. Dishes lie open, bacteria multiplying like restless ghosts. But nature has her own plans. One forgotten petri dish, slightly cracked, glistening under the faint light. In the still air, a tiny spore drifts in through the window, unseen, uninvited, landing softly in the dish. It rests there like a seed in fertile soil and begins to grow. 2 weeks later, morning sunlight paints gold streaks across the lab bench. Fleming returns, hat in hand, brushing off London rain from his coat. Days later, Fleming returns. The air smells faintly of mold and stale coffee. He frowns. The lab looks worse than he left it. Papers everywhere, glass smudged, the petri dish is a mess. But then he sees it. One plate that's different. A pale green bloom of mold at the center, surrounded by a perfect ring of emptiness. The bacteria around it, gone. Not weakened, not faded, erased. Like a battlefield after a silent war, the mold sits in the center, victorious. Fleming leans closer, the sunlight catching the rim of his glasses. "That's odd," he mutters. Curiosity replaces fatigue. He didn't find what he was looking for. He found something better. Fleming's hand adjusting the microscope, the lens focuses on the border between mold and bacteria. Under his microscope, he sees the invisible frontier, the line where life meets death. The mold, Penicillium notatum, is releasing something, a chemical weapon against bacteria. It doesn't just fight, it annihilates. Lighting flickers brighter as the camera slowly circles him. His eyes widen, pen trembling in hand as he scribbles notes. For the first time in human history, an invisible killer has met its match. Born not from genius planning, but from pure accident, the discovery spreading through the world. Scientists testing penicillin, factories producing medicine, soldiers being treated on the battlefield. Within years, this accidental discovery would save millions. In World War II, soldiers once doomed by infection now walked again. Children who once faced death from small wounds began to heal. A forgotten petri dish became humanity's shield. Modern hospital. A nurse gives antibiotics to a patient, cut back to the old lab, the dish sitting under a shaft of golden light. Sometimes the world changes not with explosions, but with silence, not through intention but through accident. Alexander Fleming didn't set out to save the world, but the world was waiting for him to make that one small mistake. The lab fades into a glowing petri dish floating in darkness. Penicillin, the mistake that saved the world.